What's up, everybody? What's good? My name is EK and welcome back to What's Good English, the channel where I try to help you understand how English is really spoken. And before we get into anything today, I just want to say, do not do that. Don't try to sound like that girl. You'll sound like a stereotype. Just don't do it. The other thing is, this episode is going to contain some instances of unbleeped curse words. It is the only way that I could properly do this episode, so that's why they are still there. And that's it. So let's get into it. So today I'm going to be analyzing the accent of Woah Vicky, the person that you saw at the beginning of this video. And by the way, did y'all understand what she said there? Here, let's take a look at the original clip.
Don't tell that girl Vicky, she is not one of them. Y'all, we outside. What the baby said? If we in Miami, we on them jet skis. Yeah, period.
Alright, if y'all still didn't catch it, cool. I'm gonna tell you what she said. Don't play with that girl Vicky, she is not one of them. Y'all, we outside. What little baby say? If we in Miami in the middle of the winter, we in them jet skis, yeah, period. Now I'm gonna leave the words on the screen and I'm gonna play that clip for you one more time to see if y'all can understand it now that you know what the words are.
Don't tell that girl Vicky, she is not one of them. Y'all, we outside. What the baby said? If we in Miami, we on them jet skis. Yeah, period.
Now I'm sure some of y'all have absolutely no idea who this girl is, and if that's the case, then you are like I was 6 or 7 months ago before I started making these YouTube videos about African American English. That is Victoria Waldrop, also known as Woah Vicky. She's a rapper slash influencer slash model, and she's most commonly known for her accent. Well, her accent and... Let me just say, it is not my intention to roast this girl.
Who gave this girl a gun? Where are her parents? Who are her parents?
Okay, my sole intention is not to roast this girl. There are more than enough YouTube videos from different content creators already doing that, and I don't want to pile on to that. I just want to focus on the way that she talks.
I'm from Atlanta. Like, anybody that been to Atlanta know this is how everybody in Atlanta talks. Atlanta is predominantly black people.
There are many different accents of African American English, just as there are many different accents of standard American English. Vicky is from Atlanta, and Atlanta has a very distinct accent of African American English.
Dre is totally different from Big Boy. Big Boy is totally different from Dre. How can they stay together and do this music? I mean, but you got to think, man. I mean, what make Kool-Aid so good? You know what I'm saying? It's like you got the packet that's sour as hell. You know what I'm saying? Then you got that sweet sugar.
Now, Vicky grew up with her mother until she was 6 or 7 years old, and then she went to live with her father. And this isn't the story of some rebellious, troublesome young child. What happened to her is actually a lot more serious.
Somebody called defects, and they said that you weren't able to take care of me, and they said that Papa couldn't take care of me because that wasn't my real dad. So I was finna go to defects or foster care, and then that's when my dad stepped in.
According to Vicky, nearly all of the friends that she had growing up were black and spoke with a traditional African American English accent from Atlanta, and she also says that her father dated a black woman who she looked up to as a mother figure, and that her accent, the way that she speaks, is just a product of her upbringing. Now, before I go any further, I want to address two different things. Number one is that talking black is definitely a thing that exists. John McWhorter has an entire chapter devoted to this in his book, Talking Back, Talking Black. The second thing I want to address is something that I actually referenced way back in the first video about African American English that I made, and that is African American English is not exclusive to black people in the United States, meaning that not all of us speak this way, and that there are non-black people that speak this way. But if Vicky were just some random white girl that could speak African American English, I wouldn't be making this video.
I did some history. I went on Ancestry.com, and I found out I'm 25% black, and this whole time I knew it. I knew I was a black girl.
You see, it's one thing to be a non-black person that speaks African American English on a native level. It's normal and it happens all the time. But to declare yourself black and then start to make different videos using the N-word, which I'm not going to show you here, for social media clout so you can gain followers and become famous is an entirely different thing.
My friends peeped how I was. They peeped the way I talked. It was like, oh yeah, that girl goes viral.
Right.
Then me and the boy, we started doing like a fake relationship. And then it just started going up. While she talked like that, they kept saying I talk black.
Right.
So then
that was the day you found out you was black.
So her friends found her and noticed that she could talk like us and collaborated with her to help her go viral, gain tons of social media followers, and become famous, which made all of us question, is she faking it?
I be feeling like God be knowing what he be doing with me because I just got this chemical peel in my face. So I look crazy right now, but don't worry about it. In like 2 days, my skin gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? But mind you, I'm not going nowhere because my face look like crazy and it feel like so dry. But guess what weekend it is? It's Halloween weekend. I could have probably been to so many parties, been outside, been tempted to go to these parties. Mind you, last year is when I went to a Halloween party and they were trying to prick people blood at the door, and I was like, hell no, I'm good. But you see how that work? It's the devil's day. But look, I got this on my face, so I wasn't even gonna go nowhere anyways. But with this, I'm for sure not going nowhere.
Her accent is really consistent throughout that entire clip. When she says coulda done bent instead of coulda done been or coulda done went, both of those words would have worked in that sentence. And occasionally when we have two words that will work, we get ahead of ourselves and they become one word, like bent. She also does the same thing when she was gonna say that she wasn't gonna go nowhere anyway. She kinda got ahead and swapped the words and corrected herself. But those are mistakes that any native speaker would make.
Sometimes people got money, like people be like trying to talk down on them, like, oh, they got money, but they don't be helping me. Or, they think people like automatically be like, they think they entitled to stuff, but that don't even be the case. It's like.
So once again, in that clip, her accent is consistent the entire way through. Also, you can tell that she's really thinking and trying to work through her thoughts to be able to answer that question. Let's look at another clip from a different interview when she was a little bit younger.
I just like, I don't care what nobody think. I ain't reading none of my comments, and that's how it was for a long time. But then I started realizing how much of like a voice I have. So what I say, like a lot of people see it and it affect people. So I started to care a little more. You feel me?
Her accent is consistent and her pronunciation is consistent throughout the entire clip. Both in this one and the last clip, she sounds a bit nervous and she's clearly working through her thoughts in order to answer the question. Now, let's take a look at one more clip.
Since I was 7 years old, I didn't never meet my real dad because I lived with my mom and that guy sometimes. But you see, my dad, he was paying for my mom a house to take care of me and raise me in. But see, I really didn't stay there a lot with her. I stayed with the guy at his house that I thought was my dad at the time. I used to call him Papa, so I used to stay with Papa all the time because I thought it was my dad. You know what I'm saying? He raised me and took care of me.
So in that last clip, once again, consistent African-American English accent. She sounds a bit muted and, for lack of a better term, less like herself. The argument that I see most often from non-black people about the way this girl sounds is,
I feel like you talk how the people around you talk. If you grew up with people talking like that and your parents talking like that, then you're gonna talk like that.
I do agree with that argument. People's accents are the product of the environment they grew up in, and they sound the way that people around them sound regardless of what their parents might sound like.
We learn English from outside the crib, the streets, TV, radio, and music. This is before YouTube, kid. I was in ESL, heard a Wu-Tang double CD, and then had to go to summer school straight up. You know what I'm saying?
The issue with Vicky is that if you ask black people, we agree she sounds black. There are black people that sound that way. However, she sounds like a caricature, like a stereotype, as if she's imitating just the extreme of the black accent and not the norm of the black accent. And if you're outside the circle, you might be asking, okay, well, what do black women sound like?
I consider Atlanta its own little world. I live in a world of materialism that sometimes I look at people and I'm just like, I hope and I pray 10 years from now, you are still able to keep up with the Joneses.
That's my joint where, I got to talk my, can I curse up here? Yeah. I got to talk my shit. So, that's that rap. Like, cause most of the time I'm reserved, like people take shots, I don't really say nothing. But when I can, when I want to. So it's just like everything that I've heard about me, it just bothered me. I'm just busting back.
A lot of people be like, I don't know, like,
they probably have like an idea of what I would be like or what I would like and things I like to talk about, and like just regular cool. I like regular normal things.
All three of those women are from the South. You might have heard some parallels between the way Rhapsody and Leah sounded, and maybe not so much with Ruby. And you might also hear some parallels between all three of them and the clips of Vicky that I showed you earlier. And that might make you think, okay, well, Vicky doesn't sound too far off of the way that these girls sound. Well, that's because I cherry-picked those clips. When you normally encounter a video from Vicky, it sounds a little something like this.
That girl, because she is not one of them. Yeah, period. Common Mrs. put that shit on, even back in the 90s. Yeah, period. I'll still be putting on all y'all boyfriends if it was in the 90s.
You know this whole get your body done thing? Wait, why am I at Chick-fil-A and they don't got the people outside taking the orders? Oh, this ghetto, I don't like this. Atlanta, you got to do better. In LA, they be outside taking the orders and all. But yeah, I know this new getting your body done thing is a trend or whatever, but I don't agree with it. I prefer natural. Y'all should love yourself naturally. God ain't make no mistakes on you. You know what I'm saying? And then you gonna get your body done and still be unhappy, still be trying to work out because you think you gotta look perfect. No, God already made you perfect. So learn to let the body you in. And if you fat or something, just goddamn work out. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gotta do all that. Ooh, let me suck this fat out. Like, no. You ain't gotta do that. Even if you skinny, God made you skinny for a reason. You know, you can do your little squats, get thick. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't gotta goddamn do all that other shit.
Irregardless of whether or not she's faking, she's used the way that she sounds along with other aspects of black culture to help get herself famous, which makes us hyper-analyze every single thing that she says and look for inconsistencies like I'm about to do.
I just got done cleaning up today and I just got my TV delivered.
If you a native speaker African American English, you probably noticed something about the way she said delivered there. Check it out one more time.
I just got done cleaning up today and I just got my TV delivered.
In African American English, we tend to not fully pronounce the D at the end of a word in the past tense. So that would sound something like, my mama worked 18 hours yesterday, she tired. Or, do y'all remember where they parked the car? Or, my TV got delivered.
Did you ever think it was become a problem? When did you start realizing it was a problem? What do you think was like what else do you want to do? Did you want to just stay inside all day?
In African American English, we don't tend to use the words do and did that often in a sentence, and when we do, they normally blend into the next word in the sentence. For example, did they say where they was going? Do y'all want to go shopping? But Vicky uses them all the time, and sometimes she fully pronounces them, which sounds weird even in standard English. And then we have this video.
Don't play with that girl because she is not one of them. Yeah, fuck you talking about. Mrs. put that shit on. Fuck you talking about, period.
If I were to just walk up to a random non-black person on the street and stuck a camera in their face and said, hey, say something black, that is exactly what I would expect to come out of their mouths. Just word salad, doesn't make any sense, just stringing together a bunch of catchphrases. You might have recognized don't play with that girl Vicky, she's not one of them, from the earlier videos that I showed you. You also heard fuck you talking about, which is something that we use all the time. There are two main uses. One is when somebody says something crazy, it's a vulgar way to say, what did you just say? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Hey bro, I need your car right quick, man. I gotta drive to California. Fuck you talking about, you finna take my car to California. The other way that we use it is the exact same way she used it in the video, as a vulgar exclamation point.
Don't play with that girl because she is not one of them. Yeah, fuck you talking about.
You basically make a proclamation and you stick that at the end of it to put extra emphasis on it. For example, if I were to say Chicago deep dish pizza is the best pizza in the world, fuck you talking about. We have several phrases that we use as additional exclamation points that are not vulgar, like not me, not I'm saying, not I'm talking about, stuff like that. Period is another example.
Fuck you talking about, period.
If you're gonna stick fuck you talking about at the end of the sentence, you don't really need period there. It's redundancy, and African American vernacular doesn't like redundancy. It looks like she's just trying to make something up and not break character, which is leading us to question whether or not it's a legit accent. Now, can I call her entire accent into question and say it's fake because of the way that she pronounced a particular word, or because she was using a redundant phrase, or because she's using question words that aren't normally used in the African American vernacular? I don't really think I can. Every native speaker of every language makes grammatical errors. Some of us routinely make the same grammatical errors. And I'm not talking about commonly accepted stuff like saying if I was instead of if I were, or I could care less instead of I couldn't care less. I'm talking about saying stuff like more better, more hungrier, I walked into the store. On top of that, everyone either is someone or knows someone that grew up around them and has the same accent as them, yet they still pronounce one word or phrase differently than the rest of the group. For example, my father, who pronounces the word American like American, I have no idea where he picked it up from, probably somewhere in Jersey where he grew up, but I've never encountered another person in the wild that pronounces the word exactly the same way as he does. Now, can I call his entire accent into question and say that it's not a true East Coast accent? No, that would be foolish. Just because it sounds off to me doesn't mean his entire accent is fake.
I love and respect black culture.
I just want to make this video today to like explain myself, because I know like in the past I went on the internet and I said I was black and whoop. That's when I was young, like 16. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it was wrong of me in a certain way, like it was disrespectful.
When I first got the idea for this video, I was 100% in the mindset of this girl is faking it and that I was going to be able to prove that she was faking it, and I was going to find inconsistencies from her content and be able to point out, see, this is how she's faking it. It's not a real accent. She's just using a blaccent, which is a fake black accent. But as I began to watch more and more footage, and I watched way more content from this girl than I ever thought I would, and I am so not the target audience for what this girl does. But as I began to watch that footage, my opinion on the matter started to change, and I was gonna say something like, okay, well, I don't think she's faking her accent anymore, and that she had originally started to fake it, but it started to solidify, and now that's just the way she talks and that's who she is, because that is a real thing that can happen. But I couldn't really square that idea either, especially as I began to watch even more footage from her, and especially the footage about her upbringing and stuff like that. And then something dawned on me. It's privilege. You see, the thing is, for black people and even some non-black people that grow up with African American English, is that we often have to code switch or change up the way that we sound depending on what the social situation is, because we very much can be and have been discriminated upon because of the way that we sound. But here we have a girl who grew up in a predominantly black city around a lot of black people, and since the age of 7 has lived a pretty privileged, well-off lifestyle. My opinion is, because of her skin color and social status, she has been able to go through her entire life, no matter what the social situation is, without having to turn it down for anyone. And that is a luxury that I have never experienced. That is a luxury that no black American has ever experienced. Jay-Z, one of the wealthiest, most well-known rappers in the entire world, usually gets to be himself because he's Jay-Z. He's a well-known person. He can go wherever he wants to go, and people will be like, oh, that's Jay-Z, let's roll out the red carpet, and he gets to enjoy that lifestyle sometimes. But he had to become Jay-Z to get that, to be able to enjoy that. And if he is ever someplace where people don't know who he is, then he might have to change up how he sounds or how he presents himself to avoid discrimination. Do you remember that time where the Swiss tourism office apologized to Oprah because while she was shopping there once, she wanted to see a handbag, and the store clerk refused to show her that handbag because she thought it would be too expensive for her? Oprah, a literal billionaire, does not enjoy the luxury of being free of discrimination. But Victoria could go into that same shop and someone might just assume that she is the offspring of some super rich person and show her the $38,000 handbag. So no, I don't think her accent is fake. I do not. She knows how the words work, she knows how the grammar works, she has the cadence, the mistakes that she makes are consistent with the mistakes of native speakers. The other thing is, unlike celebrities like Awkwafina, whose black accent suddenly disappeared after she got famous enough to not need it any longer, or Iggy Azalea, who adopts a black sounding voice when she raps and then magically returns to her natural Australian self after the song is over, she is consistent the entire way through. She's also reached a level of fame and notoriety where she doesn't need to depend on it to continue to make money, yet she still sounds the way that she sounds. Now, if in 2, 3, 5 years or whatever she suddenly drops the accent and decides to only speak standard English, I will happily make another video about how wrong I was, but for now, that's my take on it. Alright, so that's gonna do it for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching it. I know it was a longer one. If you liked it, hit that like button. Please leave me a comment and let me know what you thought, and I will catch y'all next week with another video. Ciao.
Don't play with that girl, bitch. She is not one of them. Yeah, period.
Don't play with that girl, bitch. She is not one of them.
Even back in the 90s. Yeah.
Yo, even back in the 90s. Yo, hold on. Stay up here. Stay up here. Up here. All right.
Period. I'd still be putting all y'all boyfriends if we was in the 90s.
Period. I'd still be pounding on y'all boyfriends if we was in the 90s.